Rich Padover. I'm the summer interpreter here, or tour guide, and the organizer of the Old Fashioned Fourth. A lot of you know me already. Those of you who might be new here this year, welcome, and I'm sure you'll have a great time here with us today. Before we do the flag raising, if there are any officials here, Counselor, if we have any elected officials here today, if you would like to come up and say a few words, you're more than welcome to.
Good morning and thank you. My name is Councilor Gregory de Rosario. I represent District C, which is the Upper Tower Hill and also Arlington neighborhood. I'm glad to be here and say thank you in a day like today to all the veterans. They actually made the big sacrifice, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, and I'm thankful for the invitation, and thank you again. Happy 4th of July.
So if any of you would like to assist with the flag raising ceremony now, if you can please come up, and we'll do that next. Good. Okay, thank you both. Appreciate it. Joe Grieve will now sing the national anthem for us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you, everyone. Happy 4th of July.
We'll do the traditional parade around the block. You're all welcome to join us. If you do not prefer to join the parade, you're welcome to go inside up to the 3rd floor and wait for us to finish the parade, and then we'll join you upstairs on the 3rd floor. Okay? So we'll form the line by the Bicknell clock up there now. And again, you're all welcome to join us for the parade. Hear ye, let the parade begin. Okay? 13th annual old-fashioned 4th of July celebration. Some of you I know have been with me since the beginning, since the very first one in '06. Some of you are more recent participants, and I appreciate that as well. And if this is your first year altogether here, I welcome you as well, and I hope you're having a good time today. So, yes, all right. Yes, all right, very good. I do want to do the thank yous now, because without the generosity of various people and businesses, this event would not be possible today. The only reason I'm able to do this every year is thanks to the generosity of various people, organizations, and businesses in Lawrence and the Lawrence area. So I just want to thank the following who made this possible today, and then maybe when I'm done, we'll give them one round of applause, okay? So, thank you to the following. Bagel Boy on South Union Street in Lawrence, Butcher Boy Market in North Andover, Dairy Queen on South Union Street in Lawrence, Market Basket, headquartered in Tewksbury, McDonald's Restaurant, MDC Management Company in Chelmsford, the Merrimack Valley Central Labor Council, based in Lowell, the T.A. Sullivan Insurance and Real Estate Agency, former Mayor Mike Sullivan, and the Friends of Lawrence Heritage State Park. So thank you all. So if you do go to those businesses, if you patronize them, be sure to thank them for their generosity for making this possible today, all right? And then also some other thank yous. Tom Spitaleri, who I guess is in the kitchen right now. Okay, he's getting the hot dogs ready for us, so, yes. So we thank Tom. Also, Terry Date and the Eagle Tribune for doing a great article. It was in last Thursday's Eagle Tribune, the article about today's event, so we thank them as well. The Lawrence Civil War Memorial Guard, who participated in the parade outside. The 6th Maine Battery, John Fiorilla, back there, thank you. Yes. And the Lawrence High School ROTC group, who participated outside there now as well. Thanks again to Adam Lavoie for providing the entertainment. And to Joe Grieve for singing the national anthem. Thank you, Joe. And also to the park supervisor, Dave Dean. Thank you, Dave, for all of your help getting everything ready for today. And to the park staff as well, Frank, Genesis, Bob, and Nick, right? Okay. All right. Thank you all to them as well for their help. And thank all of you as well, the Friends of Lawrence Heritage, for helping, and all of you for your help in any way that you might have given for today, and for being here and participating and making this annual event all worthwhile for me. All the planning that I put into this, and getting the donations and all that and everything set up. But I do it knowing that that all of you will be here and to help us celebrate this wonderful holiday of ours, the 247th birthday of the United States. Right. So thank you all. Now, the next thing we'll do is the public reading of of the Declaration of Independence, all right? So those of you who would like to read a section of the Declaration, if you could please form a line to my left here, and then we'll get that started, and then after that we'll have our lunch. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, depriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable, and than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Okay, now, Tom?
Well, yeah, he has refused this assent to the laws the most was wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden this government to pass the laws for immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till this assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly and neglected to attend to them.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish their rights of representation in the legislature, a right and formal vote to titles only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of critiquing them into compliance of his measures. He has dissolved the Representative House repeatedly for opposing with many firmness interventions on the rights of the people.
Let's hope that King George, wherever he lies, continues to listen to these words. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration hither and raising conditions of new appropriations of land. And he has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws or establishing judiciary powers.
He has made judges dependent on his will, alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislators. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops amongst us, for protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefit of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever.
He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny, already begun with the circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous of ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captives on the high sea to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hand. Okay. He has excited domestic insurrection amongst us and has encouraged endeavored to bring on inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
Every stage of these oppressions, we have promised for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only in repeated injury. Only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of free people. Nor have we been wanting attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by the legislators to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to the common kindred to disavow these which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of we must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounce our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind enemies to war and peace friends. We therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the supreme justice of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these United States are, and of right heart and free and independent states, that they are absolved from the allegiance to the British Crown, and that all live in hope. Connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, that they have full power to levy war, conclude peace contract, alliances, establish commons, and do all other acts and things which independent states might of right do, and do the support of this declaration with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence. We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor.
And I think this story is well known, well publicized now, but on the 50th anniversary of the Declaration, July 4th, 1826, Thomas Jefferson passed away in Monticello. Here in Massachusetts, on his farm, John Adams was also dying and said, at least Jefferson survives. He didn't know Jefferson had passed away just a few hours earlier. Thomas Jefferson died 3:30. John Adams died very early evening, July 4th, 1826. Both men. On the 50th anniversary.
My wife, Lori, if any of you don't know her, my assistant here today. Okay. All right. And lastly, I just want to mention, the names of the signers of the Declaration. So, of course, John Hancock, right? The big signature on the Declaration, extra large, right? John Hancock. And then the others, Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple, Matthew Thornton, and then those are from New Hampshire. From Massachusetts, John Hancock, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Tree Payne, Elbridge Gerry. From Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, William Ellery. From Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Walcott. From New York, William Floyd, Philip Livingston, Francis Lewis, Lewis Morris. From New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkinson, John Hart, Abraham Clark. From Pennsylvania, Robert Morris, Benjamin Rush, Benjamin Franklin, John Morton, George Clymer, James Smith, George Taylor, James Wilson, George Ross. From Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, Thomas McCain. From Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Parker, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll. From Virginia, George White, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton. From North Carolina, William Hooper, John Hughes, John Penn. From South Carolina, Edward Rutledge, Thomas Haywood Jr., Thomas Lynch Jr., Arthur Middleton. And from Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lyman Hall, and George Walton. All right. Okay, now, a counselor, right? Counselor.
I'm
City Councilor Richard Russell.